Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate it. We are going to continue with chapter number 9 of Bhagavad Gita, starting from verse number 27 onwards till the end of the chapter. Verse 27. Yat karoshi yat ashnasi yat juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I really appreciate all of you joining. I'm speaking from the holy land of Vrindavan. Very, very fortunate to be here since a couple of days, and we'll be here till appearance day of Srimati Radharani. So very fortunate. So once again, thank you. And as we can see from this verse, Krishna is giving us knowledge on how we can free ourselves from bondage and attain liberation. How? By everything that we do, if we do in his consciousness, then we will not be entangled in this material world. The problem is because of entanglement, we suffer. There are sufferings, and no one likes to suffer. Everyone wants to be free of suffering. So, as we learned in chapter 3 and 5 of Bhagavad Gita about Karma Yoga, where Krishna teaches us how to lead a karma free life. So here he's again repeating in a different way. All he's saying is whatever we do, whatever we eat, very, very important, whatever we offer, whatever we give away as charity, or whatever austerities we perform, Krishna says, do that as an offering to me, which means there should be no desire for enjoying oneself, like in the sense, oh, I'm going to do this so I can enjoy this, or whatever it may be. But the point is that leads to entanglement. But once we offer our results to the Lord, so let's say I feel like eating a pizza today. Sure, I can eat it. But all I do is offer it to Krishna first and then eat it. So I'm still getting satisfied. I'm still enjoying the pizza. But now the pizza is karma free diet. It has no reactions, no sinful reactions, because vegetables also have life. And we have put vegetables in the pizza, so we are committing a sin. So he's saying whatever we do, we should do it as an offering unto him. And he's making it very, very clear to whom it should be offered. He doesn't say offer it to A, B, or C. No, he's saying offer it to me, and only then we'll become free from bondage. So it behooves us, to mold our lives in such a way that we can remember this, because if we forget this, then we may end up leading a karma life full of karma, which means, just like there's a saying, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So every action will have a reaction. Now, if we want to stay away from reactions, away from bondage, and be liberated, then we need to follow a golden rule. And that golden rule is given in the scriptures. It says, Smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavya na chatuchit. It's very simple. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. So even if we remember only half of this golden rule, the other half will be automatically satisfied. How? If we always remember Krishna, then we will never forget him. And if we never forget Krishna, we'll always remember him. So We all know that in this material world, we need to work, because until and unless we work, we cannot maintain the body and soul together. No one is going to pay our bills, no one is going to pay our rent or mortgage, or or the food that we eat every day. So to maintain the body and soul together, we need to work. Now, how should we work? That is what we learned in chapter 3 and 5. How should we work? We should work in such a way that it's honest, but at the same time, the results are given to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. We should not think about enjoying the senses with the results of our activities. Now, one may say, then what's the point of working if we are not going to enjoy? Yes, we can enjoy. Like I gave the example of pizza. Yes, we can enjoy, but we have to first offer it to Krishna. And he's very specific on what can be offered to him as far as food is concerned. He says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. He says, you can offer me a fruit, a flower, water, or fruit. Patram means vegetables, a leaf, flower, fruit, or water. You can offer it to me. And he says, I'll accept it, provided there is love and devotion added to it. And then that food becomes sanctified, and which helps us to lead a sin-free life. There is no more sinful reactions. And then it becomes easy to become free from bondage and be liberated. Now, in this verse, he also says, whatever you give away, which means he's talking about charity. Now, when we go to chapter number 14, we will learn a lot about the modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. These are the three modes. And even the food or charity or sacrifice or austerity, everything falls into different modes of material nature, which means we can be giving charity in the mode of ignorance if we don't have knowledge, and that does not have the result that we are looking for. So charity also should be given in the mode of goodness, which means to the right person at the right place at the right time, to be 100% sure that whatever charity we have given is going to be used in the service of the Supreme Lord, not that the funds are misused. Because if the funds are misused, then we get the karma for the misuse of those funds. Now, Krishna is talking about whatever austerities we perform. Now, one may wonder what kind of austerities can be there. Well, a simple form of austerity is fasting on religious days, like twice a month there is a very important day comes, which is called Ekadashi. Now Ekadashi is the day of austerities, wherein we abstain, we do not eat grains and beans on that day. Now if we see scientifically, it is good to rest the digestive system every 2 weeks. Give a rest so that it can kind of start working optimally after that fasting. Because when we eat grains and beans on a daily basis, it is a lot of load on the digestive system. So scientifically also is proved to give rest to the stomach every 2 weeks. And every 2 weeks, Ekadashi comes. It's a day of Lord Krishna, wherein we perform the austerity of abstaining from grains and beans. That's one of the austerity. Another austerity we can perform is chanting on a daily basis, and which is for our benefit. When we chant, when we do the mantra meditation, it is difficult, it is not easy, but it is for our benefit. So it's important to perform that austerity as well. In the next verse, Krishna says, in this way, in what way? By performing austerity, offering everything unto him, whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever charity we give it to him first, offer it to him. So he says, in this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So here's a process. Here's a simple formula of how to become free from bondage, how to become liberated, and how to go back to the spiritual world where we belong. So he's saying, fix your mind upon me. And the best way to fix the mind is by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Because when we chant, we are hearing those sound vibrations, and then our mind starts getting fixed on Krishna. So here he's saying, you will be, in this principle of renunciation. Many times people have a wrong conception about renunciation. They think renunciation means you give up your family, you give up your job, your bank balance, everything, house and everything, and you go to the forest, wear saffron clothes. No, renunciation is a state of consciousness. So that is called, you can also say what he's referring to in this verse is yukta vairagya, which is doing a karma, still working, but doing a karma. A karma means we perform our activities according to the scriptures, but we do not desire to enjoy the fruits of those activities. So that is a karma, that is yukta vairagya, that is the consciousness of renunciation. So give the fruits to Krishna, then there is no more karma. And this way, we will be able to become self-realized. And as Krishna is saying, you will come to me, which means we will reach the spiritual planet, which is the highest goal of human form of life, perfection of life. And the best way to fix the mind is by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is the medicine that Krishna has given us for this age of Kali Yuga. And when we perform a karma, we are as good as a sannyasi. That means we are a renunciate. We don't need to, run away from someone may want to run away from the family, someone may want to get rid of the spouse and children or whatever, but that is not the consciousness. Simple way to get liberated even while being in this body is always thinking of Krishna and serving him with love and devotion. And the best service is chanting. Let's see what Krishna has to say in the very next verse of this chapter, which is verse number 29. He says, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and also a friend in him. Very, very simple. Many times people think, oh, God is so partial. He's given the best of life to this one and he's given the worst of life to this one. No, the life that we are leading right now is based on our past karma. Whatever actions we have performed in the past, we are right now reaping the fruits of those actions. We are getting those reactions. So he envies no one. He's not partial, equal to all. Why? Because he says, Aham bija pradaha pita. I am the seed-giving father of all living entities, not just human beings, but all different kinds of living entities. So if we want to become a friend of Krishna and we want Krishna to be our friend and we being a friend of Krishna, then he says, just render devotional service unto me. So if we render devotional service unto Krishna and he becomes a friend, that's not discrimination, it is natural. Like for instance, Prabhupada gives an example that there are two children in the family, one is obedient, one is disobedient. So the child who is obedient, naturally there will be more inclination of the parents towards that child, not that The parents don't love the other child who's disobedient, but it's a natural affinity. So similarly, Krishna also is saying there's no discrimination. So we will see that when we meet devotees who are practicing Krishna consciousness, we'll see they are our friends. We have such a, in fact, we have a better relationship spiritually than probably we have materially, if we can. Like, for instance, I've been practicing bhakti yoga for many, many decades, and I have come across so many beautiful souls, and they have either become my children or my grandchildren or my sister, brother. I haven't met anyone so far who has become my parent except my spiritual master, who's my spiritual father. But the point is that we make this beautiful spiritual family just by being Krishna conscious. So, special attention is given by Krishna to his devotees who perform devotional service. And the best way to perform devotional service is to do mantra, meditation, chanting. Now, we see that the Lord provides for all. He takes care of the need, but not the greed. Yeah, there's a huge difference between need and greed. There's some things that are necessary, but there's some things we just want out of greed. So he is providing, like, let's say, an elephant. How much does the elephant eat every day? Does the elephant have to go to work to earn some money to get some food? No, the elephant is provided, and a little ant is also provided, whatever is necessary. So he is there to provide for us, but not our greed. In fact, the whole Bhagavad Gita is teaching us how we can become conscious of Krishna. Not only that, how we can perform devotional service in such a way that Krishna becomes conscious of us. He says, aha, there is my devotee who is sincerely chanting my holy names and sincerely performing austerity, sincerely following the instructions given in the Bhagavad Gita. But of course, it is our choice. We have the instructions, but then we have a choice whether we want to follow it or we don't, or we want to stick on to what we have been doing. Like my mother, she was used to performing devotional service in a particular way to the demigods, and she had her own rituals, etc. Now I had a choice whether I want to still follow in those footsteps, which is also good but which is not sufficient, or I take on more knowledge, understand, and then make the change. Now there are two options. Like Krishna says, ye yatham mam prapadyante tam stateva pajami aham. As one surrenders unto me, I reward them accordingly. And that's very, very fair. So if I'm going to take one step, Krishna will take 10 steps. If I take 2 steps towards him, he'll take 20 steps towards me. But it is my choice. He's not going to force me. He's not going to put a gun on my head and say he can, but he's not going to put it on my a gun on my head and say, you better chant my holy name. No, because this is a relationship of love. So I have a choice. So I was following the rituals that my mother was following. But once I got the knowledge, then I made a U-turn because I understood that these rituals are not going to help me get liberated, or they're not going to help me become free from bondage of the cycle of birth and death. So I made a change. Now I had another option. I could have said, well, I have been doing these rituals for so many years, following my mother for so many years. Now, if I make a change, then all of that will be a waste. I will be wasting all that, time that I spent. So let me continue. Why waste? Now that option is there. Let me give you another example. Now, if I want to drive from Atlanta to New York, obviously I'm going to take the highway that goes north. Now I'm 100% sure my goal is New York. I need to reach that destination. But unfortunately, due to lack of knowledge, I didn't have GPS system in my car. So I started driving south. Now when I'm starting to drive south, drive. I've been driving for one or 2 days, and then suddenly I stopped to inquire, am I on the right road? So I've been told that no, here is the GPS, here's the map, and according to the map, which is a bona fide map, you have to go north. So now I have two options. One is, oh, I've already spent so much on my gas. I've already put so much mileage on my car, and I've been driving. That means my 2 days of driving will go waste. Let me continue going south. Why? It's easier, No. When I get the bona fide map, then I need to make a U-turn if I want to reach my destination. I should not think, oh, I have been doing this, so it's going to be a waste. No, it's because I was driving or because I was following the rituals that my mother was following. Krishna was being merciful and he gave me option of knowledge to understand this is the right way to reach me. So I just make an about turn and start going in the right direction. So here Krishna is making it very, very clear that if you want to reach the spiritual planet, if that is your goal, then this is the process. And then of course he says that I envy no one. And based on our surrender, he is going to respond. It's very, very logical. Let's see what he says in verse number 30. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he's engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Now, one can take this verse in two different ways. One is, okay, I made a mistake, I committed a sinful activity, but because I am following the Bhagavad Gita, I am chanting, Krishna will pardon me and I can continue on this path of bhakti. The other way could be, oh, this verse is so cool because I can chant and then I can commit sinful activity, and then I can chant and then I can commit sinful activity and Krishna will pardon me. No. But here he's saying, even if someone has committed an abominable act, is still considered saintly, a devotee. Why? Because this person is in knowledge and understands, okay, by mistake, I committed some sinful activity, but now I'm going to be very, very careful. I'm going to be vigilant and I will not take any excuse to commit any more sins, not even by accident. I will rectify myself. That is the right state of consciousness. And Krishna says, why will I pardon that person? Because that person is situated in devotional service with determination. Determination is necessary because anything that we do in life, whether I want to start a business, I want to do a new job, or I want to start a new relationship, there has to be determination. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere. I should be firm that, yes, I want to be successful in whatever I want to do. But at the same time, we have to be very, very careful in spiritual life that we do not commit any sinful activities. And now here Krishna is saying, such a person is considered saintly. Why? Because that person is chanting on a daily basis, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And Krishna says, quickly that person will become righteous. See the power of chanting. Chanting the holy names of the Lord are so powerful that they start cleansing our hearts of all the unwanted things that are there. Lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, whatever it may be, it all starts getting clear and the person starts become righteous. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that there are two kinds of people. One is the conditional and the other is constitutional. Conditional is one who is on the bodily concept of life, thinks I am this body and does everything for the body. Whereas the other one is in his constitutional position, which is being conscious of Krishna, being the eternal servant of Krishna. So we may see that both these people, conditioned and constitutional, they both may be performing the same activity, maybe in the office, at place of work. In IT, maybe doing software, both are doing that, but the state of consciousness is different. One is doing because one wants to enjoy material benefits from that work, whereas the other one is working for the satisfaction of Krishna. The consciousness is of Krishna. So the result is totally opposite. One gets entangled and one gets liberated. So the point is service for Krishna is important. And when one starts performing devotional service, starting with chanting, then one starts getting uplifted in consciousness. And so if such a person, Krishna says, by mistake, by accident falls down, it is okay, because that person is going to get up. Krishna is going to pardon that person, and that person will start purifying himself or herself. So two important points are there, that if we are performing devotional service by accident, if we commit a sinful activity, yes, socially it may be unacceptable, but one does not become disqualified or one does not fall down. It's just a temporary fall down. And then one picks oneself again in association of devotees and then start becoming saintly again. So one needs to chant with determination. That is very, very important. Verse number 31. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. This is a guarantee from Krishna. Na me bhaktya pranashyati, that my bhakta, my devotee will never perish. Why? Because gradually my devotee will become righteous and attain lasting peace. Now, in this material world, we have noticed we become peaceful for some time, and then again we are not so peaceful. Then again we, feel some peace at heart or peace at mind or whatever we may say. But then again, that is temporary. But here Krishna says, no. When we start performing activities in Krishna consciousness, then we become righteous, and then that peace is everlasting. And Krishna is saying, my guarantee is there that my devotee will never perish. Why? Because the devotee is constantly thinking of Krishna, constantly getting purified, and then constantly gets lasting peace. So when we chant, there is remembrance of Krishna. Because when we are chanting, we are hearing the holy names, and that purification helps us to remember Krishna. So chanting should be continued always. This will protect us from temporary fall downs. Krishna says, take my shelter and I'll take you to the destination. Now we need to decide, is that my destination? Is that what I want to achieve in life? So here Krishna doesn't say, oh, my devotee will never perish. No. He's asking Arjuna to declare it. When a devotee of Krishna says it, it becomes more powerful. He says, not only just say it, Arjuna, don't just say, my devotee will never perish. No, he says, declare it, and boldly, with a lot of emphasis on this sentence, that my devotee will never perish. So we should have that faith in Krishna that we will never perish if we surrender to Krishna. I remember one time my spiritual master, I was talking to him and about preaching, about teaching Bhagavad Gita to others. And I was telling him that, that there were some people who were, kind of creating an obstacle on my path of preaching. And so he reminded me of this verse. He said, Krishna is declaring it boldly, my devotee never perishes. So just continue and Krishna will help you in your service of preaching. So Krishna is giving us a guarantee over here that the devotee will never perish. Verse number 32. We are almost towards the end of the chapter. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, and Shudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. So he's making it clear it doesn't matter in which body you are, in which phase of life you are, in which state of consciousness you are. There is no discrimination at all, no distinction. Anyone who is, practicing Krishna consciousness is following the Bhagavad Gita, putting it into practice. It doesn't matter in which family they are born. It has nothing to do with the body. It is something to do with the spirit soul, the consciousness. So as long as we are trying to follow the Bhagavad Gita, it is going to lead us to purification and also to the highest perfection. In verse number 33, which is the next verse, Krishna gives a very nice part of knowledge for us. He says, how much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary, miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. He says it very clearly that this place, this material world, is first of all temporary, and secondly, it is a place of misery. But he says, just engage in my loving service, and then there's going to be lasting peace. This is not a place of happiness. We are looking for happiness at the wrong place. He's making it clear. Material world where we are right now in Kali Yuga, in this age of Kali, it is not a place of happiness. So why look for happiness here? Just do our bhakti or devotional service and go to a place where there is happiness, and not just happiness, it is permanent happiness over there. The very last verse of this chapter, the most important verse of this chapter, man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Very, very nice. Krishna says, engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me. Worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Now, what is this formula about? This formula is about how we can go back to Godhead, how we can go back to the spiritual world. So Krishna is giving the formula. What is the formula? He says, think of me, which means engage your mind always in thinking of me. And the best way, the easiest way, the simplest way to engage mind in thinking of Krishna is by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. When we do that, then automatically, we don't have to make any extra effort. Automatically, the mind gets engaged in thinking of Krishna. He says, become my devotee. How can we become his devotee? Very simple. Chant, eat only sanctified food, which is food that is offered to Krishna. Read Bhagavad Gita, follow Bhagavad Gita, and try to perform some austerities like observing fasting on Ekadashi day, which is it is said in the scriptures. One day I'll explain about this Ekadashi, the story behind it in the scriptures, with that all the sins of the whole world are present in grains and beans on this day of Ekadashi. So on Ekadashi, if we are eating grains and beans, that we are only eating sin. One may say, well, I can offer it to Krishna and eat. No, the sin is still present on the day of Ekadashi. It appears twice in a month. So it's my humble request that perform this austerity of observing Ekadashi, fasting. Now, fasting doesn't mean you don't eat anything. You can eat fruits and vegetables. You can eat milk products, there is a list. So if you just type in, let me put that in the chat. This is what it is called, Ekadashi. Put it in your in Google, Ekadashi in your city, wherever you live, whether it is in Australia or Mexico or US, wherever it is. Put in that and put 2022 this year, and it'll give you a list, the days when Ekadashi falls, and it also gives you the things that you can eat on Ekadashi and things you cannot eat. So it's my humble request that you please follow this. So he says, become my devotee and offer obeisances to me, worship me. Best form of worship is mantra meditation. It's very simple. Then what will be the result? Complete absorption in Krishna. And what will be the result? End result will be, Krishna says, you will come to me surely. Surely word is a guarantee that Krishna is giving, that surely you will come to me, which means there is no doubt at all. No doubt at all. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Manushya Partha Sarvashaha. Sarva means all. He says that Manushya, the human beings, this path one has to follow anyway, either now, tomorrow, next year, next life, whenever. We need to follow it, whether now or later. So why waste the human form of life? We have understood from the scriptures, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is transcendental, he is absolute, and we need to think of him favorably and engage our mind in thinking about Krishna. And the best process is thinking while chanting. Not while chanting, but chanting helps us to think of Krishna, makes us conscious of him. So if we really want to break the cycle of birth and death and go to the spiritual world, then with determination, we should start chanting the holy name of the Lord. This is how we can become free of bondage and attain liberation even while being in this body. That is the best way to do. And I have posted the links in the chat. If anyone would like to join the WhatsApp group or listen to the previous recordings on YouTube, or and also there is the Maha Mantra towards the end, where you can see the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra if you can chant on a daily basis. I'll just chant for a few minutes, and if you can chant with me, that would be really nice. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
So you see, it's very, very simple. All we need to do is just chant maybe 10 minutes a day, which is about 108 times we chant this holy name, and we can see the difference ourselves. So I'm going to end here now. We are in the